So here we are. We're here another time. We're on the second film of the Jurassic franchise, essentially. And this time we went and watched I believe, 1997 second Steven Spielberg film, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, which is an interesting kind of. Usually it's all movies that I can think of immediately do like Jurassic Park colon something, right?
Yeah,
Rather than a completely new title than the old title. It's kind of interesting.
yeah,
But so we kind of pick up that movie picks up was it 4 years
I believe so.
after the park? Yeah, there's a couple pieces of dialogue when Ian Malcolm shows up to Hammond's estate essentially,
Yeah.
and there's a couple pieces of dialogue of how much time has passed. I think it was 4 years. So yeah, we can. That's what we're here to get into. Kind of see how it gradually. This is the last time we're going to see Ian Malcolm until I believe Fallen Kingdom.
That's true.
So, um, and last movie was the last time we see. No, we see Ellie again in Dr. Sadler in
Mm.
three. So briefly,
She
but
shows up.
still.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah. So overall, what what would you say? How do you like number two? We'll call it that.
um, I going back and rewatching it, I do really enjoy it.
Yeah, same.
Um, I don't feel like it's my favorite.
No.
I don't feel like it's my favorite out of the three.
Okay, the first, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I like three too, but I think two has its good parts.
Definitely has its good parts, yeah.
There's a few bad parts for sure. But as far as like
Yeah.
exciting, it's a pretty exciting movie. I mean, it's pretty action heavy. Once
Well,
they
a
get to
lot.
the island,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, what you're gonna say.
No, I'm just saying once they get on the island, it kind of really picks up. They do the same thing where they see the Stegosaurus and they have that awe effect, and like Malcolm says, yeah, it starts with oohing and awing, and then it's running and screaming,
Framing, yeah.
and that's basically how the movie goes. It's
Oh yeah.
it's the wonder, and then right after that, it's just crazy.
Just
It's
just terror.
InGen comes and they're capturing dinosaurs, and it's actually like they're going through the field and it's bumpy filming and it's way
Yeah.
more action
Way more actiony. Yeah.
right up to the end. From that point right to
Oh,
the
all the way through. Yeah, no. And what's weird is that not that like Steven Spielberg has like a very repet like he doesn't repeat his style of filming, but like if
yeah,
if I hadn't seen the credits and nobody told me, I wouldn't think it was a
yeah,
Steven Spielberg film.
no, no, even
There's
the way
there's
he films,
there's
it's
certain
not.
things missing from it, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
It's just something about it. It doesn't hit all the same notes for me that like Jurassic Park and his other movies do.
so like Jurassic Park and like Jaws, they have that very Spielberg feel, like filming feel, where it's
Yeah,
close shots or wide shots that zoom in, right?
right,
Where it's like they're zooming through and they're panning and following. That's his,
right.
like he's trying to capture the thing. This movie is just, it's not really like that. It's got a couple scenes that kind of
Yeah,
follow
couple.
the things that are happening, but it's mostly just wide shots of everything.
Yeah,
You know, I specifically think about like the part where the T Rex comes into the camp.
okay,
It's filmed from like way back, and it's like here's the whole everything happening at once.
yeah,
Not close up tight shots to like characters and set pieces. It's just here's everything. So you're watching everything.
yeah,
And that, I think to me that's what makes it not feel like Spielberg.
yeah. It's true. Yeah, it is definitely the style. Yeah. So the interesting thing is that the first thing that I don't know. I've seen the movie before. I've seen it. I saw it a handful of years ago. I rewatched it, but the weird thing is I didn't realize. I guess I just don't remember. that like I remembered that Ian is going to the new island to save the woman,
Mhm.
but I always thought it was his ex-wife and not his current girlfriend.
Oh, right.
And I was like, so that was interesting. And I also didn't realize that Eddie
Mhm.
and Nick were not. I always thought, or at least remember that I thought they were kind of like the lawyer from the first movie. Not like bad people, but just people that you're like about, you know.
Side, yeah.
And so when the scene happens, when Eddie is trying to save them in the camper,
Huh.
it's I don't know how you felt about it, but like
Brutal.
yeah, it's really rough.
Brutal.
And when I remember watching the scene, I remember just thinking, like, yeah, he's a moron. I remember in the back of my head, like, yeah, it's kind of like the
Yeah.
lawyer running in the bathroom. You're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, he gets eaten.
Oh, he's literally he dies a hero.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, why did I ever get his character like confused with some like person?
Yeah.
His whole character from when you first see him to him essentially hiding, like trying to still save the car and getting eaten or torn in half.
Yeah.
Um, like he's a super nice guy and he's super nice and he's smart and like he doesn't
Yeah.
do anything really weird and
Yeah. He's the equipment specialist and he's the engineer.
yeah, it just it
I
was kind of
just
mind blowing.
and you know what's crazy too is so this always happens like you watch stuff currently, right? And then you go back and you watch stuff from your childhood and you're like, oh my god, that's that guy.
Yeah.
So his character Eddie, he is the main doctor in the Good Doctor. So the Good Doctor,
Oh,
Sean
okay.
Murphy's like mentor, like guy that kind of raised him.
Sure.
That's Eddie. It's that
That's
that
funny.
that actor,
That's
and he's a
funny.
lot older, obviously, in
Sure.
the series. And
He usually has a goatee now, right?
yes, he has a goatee and the short
Yeah.
gray, you know.
He has kind of
But
like more thicker, wavier hair on the
yeah,
sides, right? Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
when I remember this movie as a kid, you know, and all the times I've watched it, and now that I went back, oh my god, that's freaking
Oh yeah.
that's crazy. And
I
so
know.
even Nick, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's a huge actor now. You know,
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn is a
True.
huge actor. But like I texted you, I was like, this is his best role in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's actually acting. You know, he's not being funny. He's not a
Yeah, he
goofy.
doesn't take away from anything. Yeah.
Almost to the point too where I'm like bummed out that he after they get back to the mainland, he's just gone. His character's gone.
Yeah, that was weird too. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, man, he should be there at the end.
That whole thing, that's gonna be like 80% of the podcast is that
The end
the
part,
end part of the film.
the part where Jurassic Park becomes King Kong.
King Kong, yeah, really.
I do
Gosh.
enjoy that. I do enjoy that actually. It's
There are parts of it that are really well done.
yeah.
But like when you take away the like popcorn part of it, like the popcorn eating part of it, and
Yeah.
you just look at it from a movie perspective, like how the story is, you're like, none of this
No,
makes any sense.
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And what I was thinking too while watching that, and because you know, you remember that happens, but
Right.
as I'm watching, I'm like, man, it is taking them. Well, that movie came so 93 was original. So
Yeah.
whatever, 26, 25 years later, they're doing a movie where, hey, all the dinosaurs are on the mainland.
Right.
Like, it's taking
True.
that
True.
long to bring it
Yeah.
back to that, you know?
Yeah, because I think Fallen Kingdom kind of touches on it a little bit.
Well, they kind of, yeah, they all leave at the end.
But I think even in the early parts, right? Because like the raptors in the mansion and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Right. They're selling dinosaurs for like to countries for weapons, for, you know, more weapons.
Yeah. But yeah, right. It's
But yeah, it's
it's
crazy.
interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they handle it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that whole. We'll talk about it. I love that whole end scene. The T-Rex in the backyard.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
All that stuff was super good. I think that gave me nightmares as a kid.
There's a dinosaur outside.
Oh, but so yeah, going back to the island, the other character that I really enjoy is Rowland. the big
Oh, the
game.
hunter. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Super cool. He's a cool character.
Yeah.
His whole he doesn't care about anything to do with engine. All he wants to do
No.
is he wants to be the first big game hunter to take down a T-Rex. That's it. It's like his
Yeah.
whole thing. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, he's interesting. He's a really interesting character. Because I always like the same, right? You grow up, you watch it, you think this guy's the bad guy, he's nasty, blah blah blah. It's like sure, he's hunting an animal. It's like whatever. You have your opinions about that, but at the same time, it's like he kind of is the least offensive in the movie of like the InGen group.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the moment that you meet Hammond's nephew there, Peter, you're just like, man, when does he die?
But that's funny. Though, honestly, when I watched it, I thought about how you talked about in the other episode about how that's kind of how Hammond was in the book.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it was interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and I never finished reading the Lost World book, so I don't really know any differences with plot points happen or whatever. I do know that Spielberg, when he wanted to do the sequel, he wanted it to be about what happened to the embryo canister, the Barbasol canister.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because that's why he specifically films it going down the waterfall in that scene.
Gotcha.
So he wanted the sequel to be about that, but Crichton had already kind of had plot points based on
what
he wanted. So Spielberg just kind of followed his lead.
Well, we're not sponsored by these people, but if you're interested in what that storyline is, you can play the Telltale version of it, and it's exactly what they do. It's exactly what they do.
Is that really what it is?
Yep. It's like verbatim. They send a team in to go and get the canister. I think the people that Nedry's dealing with, they send in a crew and they find the Barbasol can.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty decent game.
I forget the name of the other company. In the book, there's another there's like 2 or 3 companies that they're trying to lead the way with the cloning.
Yeah. It's basically whoever Nedry's talking to.
Yeah.
What's he say? We got whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Whatever that guy's name.
Yeah. There's another group too. I don't know if they're going to talk about it in the movie, but in the Netflix show, The Camp Cretacean, there's another group called I just had it. Manticore. And they're trying to recreate what Jurassic Park had been doing. Obviously at that time that show takes place during Jurassic World.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And Fallen Kingdom. So
Gotcha.
I don't know if they're going to tie into the new movie, if they're going to be mentioned or whatever, but
interesting.
But there's always been, even in the book, there was always like 3 or 4 other major companies that wanted to delve into what Hammond was doing and just like couldn't. So they were trying to steal information, or they were paying employees, or they were trying to sue him to get the rights for stuff. Yeah, it was just this whole thing. But
interesting.
That's the thing that I do think is interesting is that so Hammond's nephew Peter there, he wants to bring back the dinosaurs from Isla Nublar. No.
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah.
So Isla Sorna is the second island.
Yeah.
So he wants to bring dinosaurs from that island and make a park on the mainland in San Francisco. San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego, yeah.
So
but I looked it up. It's Cloud Island is the first one, and the second one is Dream Island.
Oh,
that's what they're called in Spanish. Nublar and Sonar.
Oh, interesting.
Sonar or whatever they. Yeah.
In the book, it's just an island off of like Costa Rica.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So basically they allude to the fact that like Hammond's original plan was to make like a big zoo in San Diego, and even Hammond realized like that's a bad idea.
Yeah,
let's put it on an island out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And now his nephew's like,
great idea.
He's trying to make up for the people in the beginning of the movie. Like I was telling you before, that was like from the first book.
The British people, yeah.
Family. So they sue InGen for damages. So his whole reasoning behind getting dinosaurs and bring them is basically just to recover losses from like that lawsuit.
From what happened, yeah. which is basically the first two movies, really, right? I mean, it's just
Hmm.
he's trying not to lose supporters in the first movie
Yeah.
because of the guy getting eaten or killed
Oh,
by the
right.
raptor,
Exactly.
and then the same thing in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah,
So his goal is to fund that to bring dinosaurs back, and Hammond's entire goal is what he sends like the group, the first group, to be like photograph, film it to try to encourage the population to just say like that land is theirs, it belongs to dinosaurs, leave it alone, don't
right,
any
right.
human interaction. Like he just wants that island to just remain, by itself,
Yeah,
which is where the movie ends basically.
basically, yeah, true.
You know, uh,
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. So, like, you had, they bring out that like Ian was the only one to not, basically keep his mouth shut,
oh right, yeah.
and they're like because of that, they went and like said terrible things about him and said he was a nut job.
Hmm.
So it's like, oh yeah, sure, buddy, dinosaurs type of thing,
The stupid guy in the subway, right?
Yeah, and then he learns about the other team, and it was interesting because it was like one of those. I always enjoy when it's like, how do you like? They always do like a second thing, like a second movie. Like at the end of the first movie, the guy's never gonna pick up the gun again, and it's like now
Um,
there's a second movie, and they're like,
yeah.
well, how does he do it? And they're like, because he has to, and I'm like,
Uses
no,
knives.
you're right. He uses knives exactly. It's like explain it, just explain it, and that's what they did. I like that they took the time to explain like why would Ian ever go back to something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I like when he says, yeah, he's going to the island. Hammond's like, oh yeah, I knew you'd come around, and he's like, it's a rescue mission at this point.
Yeah,
Is
he's
what
like,
it is. And then he walks
yeah,
away, he leaves, right? And then Hammond turns. I love that scene. Hammond's got his folders, and he's like, and then he's like happy that he's got the whole crew that he wanted to be on the island
yeah.
to go on the island.
He's such a nut job.
He is. He is. And what I thought was interesting is they showed the kids in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah,
They were like
completely
completely
different. Yeah,
different characters, like all together. I mean, I was
yeah. They were just like, "Hello, Doctor Malcolm."
welcome to the house, Malcolm.
Yeah,
Those are not the kids from the.
paid him $3,000 to show up for 10 minutes of filming, type of thing. Yeah,
Oh man, it's pretty.
but yeah, that was really good. Um, it played out too. The thing I enjoyed because in the Jurassic Park, Ian makes mention that him and Alan are having the conversation, and he's like, "Hey, do you like kids?" And Alan's like, "Yeah," and he goes, "I love." And Ian's like, "I love them." He's like, "I adopt them any chance I can get." Right? He makes
Oh
like this kind of comment about he likes kids. So when like his daughter shows up and she's like, she's black, it's like it makes sense that he's like he's either he adopted her or he,
yeah.
whatever. So it's just it was a nice little thing. It wasn't those things where like it didn't make sense. It made sense.
I'm interested to see if Kelly, his daughter, makes an appearance in the new movie
Wouldn't it be funny if Kelly, if it was her? There's that black
from
lady
the
in the
trailer.
trailer.
Yeah,
It'd be
that's what I
funny
was
if
thinking.
it
Right.
probably is,
She's
but
with Owen, right? And she's got
yeah,
that like stun. That would be pretty cool.
it would
I,
be
that
cool.
would be
I mean, I'd
cool.
like it.
So she's good in the movie. We've
She is
talked
great
before.
at the campfire scene, right? That's totally fine.
Yeah,
She's making breakfast.
she panics. She wants to go up in the high hide.
That's fine. The whole thing, she's crying. She's
Yeah,
fine when the T-Rex comes in, right? She's crying and whimpering. She does all that
love
great.
I love when she finally gets a hold of her dad on the phone, and he's in the camper and she's up in the trees,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, let me talk to Kelly," and she's like, "Hi," she's like in shock.
Yeah.
I just love that whole scene where she's just in shock, and I was just like, they spent all this money on this equipment and they couldn't put like a canopy on top of that thing. It had to be like an open.
Yeah,
We're going to like Costa Rica where it rains like every day of the week.
yeah,
And they
every
couldn't
4
put like
minutes.
a tarp thing on the top of
Yeah.
it. So they're just
Also,
soaking wet up there.
also really funny to put your camper like 35 feet from a cliff.
Oh, that whole thing. So I guess that is from basic stuff that I've read, like that does specifically happen in the book.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, why would you park it? Why would you park it there?
It's like I'm fine with the whole like honestly, the really funny thing is I like Vince Vaughn's character Nick in the movie. I like it. But honestly, when you think about it, he is the catalyst for everything terrible that happens on the island. He
It's
like
so
he
true.
because he, you know, they're taking the pictures, he finds the girlfriend, blah blah blah.
Oh,
He's not
she takes his camera,
he
right? Yeah.
takes his camera.
What about a spot placement that was too? Did you catch on to
Yeah,
that?
the Nikon, yeah.
She's like, oh,
That's
is that a Nikon? I heard that it has 125 frames per second shooting capacity. Yeah, it's like so very product placement.
it really was.
It was so funny.
So the Stegosaurus attack happens technically because of him. It's really her doing,
Yeah.
but and then everything is fine, right? Ian and Kelly are going to leave. He's trying to talk to whoever he can get on the radio.
Yeah.
Then they see the
Holy
helicopters. They see all the stuff, and Nick reveals that he's part of Free Earth or something like that,
He's
right?
a yeah, yeah.
He's an environmentalist,
He's an
right?
activist.
Activist.
He's like a side
And that's why, yeah,
He's
and
a
that's why Hammond sent
documentarian and a side activist. He's like, oh yeah, Hammond thought they'd be showing up. I got these bad boys.
So he unlocks the thing, like destroys the camp. I mean, just
Oh yeah.
like I
Not to
totally
mention,
forgot
like,
it. It made me actually jump. I was watching it. I forgot that
I would
scene
have.
where the guy was in the tent talking. I was just like, try that. Like, oh.
It blows correctly. But not to mention, it's like, okay, yeah. So I get that like caging animals is whatever.
Right.
But to unlock dangerous dinosaurs and then have like bloodshed on your hand, like having them trampede the camp and stuff.
Oh. So all that happens, and then what results in that is he collects the baby T-Rex.
Oh yeah.
And even when he comes out of the creek or pond or whatever he is, even what's her name there? What's his girlfriend's name? I forget what her name is.
Sarah.
Sarah. She's like, what are you doing? Yeah, because what did he say? He's like, Sarah Mitchell. And he's like, how many Sarahs do you think are on the island?
Oh, and then so now that you just mentioned that scene too, what's super funny about that scene is they're in that little creek, right? And they're like, Sarah, and they can't find her anywhere. And then he climbs up on that tree.
Yeah.
She scares him, and they pan back, and it's like they clearly would have seen her standing on the other side of that tree,
Yeah.
right?
And also she would have heard them.
Even if she was like engrossed in like recording and ignoring them.
Right.
She would have been like, I'm over here, be quiet, right? Be quiet.
Like, shut up.
But clearly, like the log is here, and she was standing like here.
Right.
I'm like, Sarah. She's right on the other side of the log. Like making a double stack tree or something. So it's clearly like you couldn't
even when he gets up on the log, it's like very obvious there's a person in front of him.
He's here and she's here. And he's taking pictures here, and it's like
he doesn't look anything that's out of the range of the camera. He never looks at.
That's just one of those like filming things that to get the whole scene, you don't want your actors like 100 feet away.
Right.
You don't want them, going 100 feet away to take a leak in the woods like that. That's the next major plot point that I'm like, that guy is such an idiot. He's with all these mercenaries, all these manly men, right?
Yeah.
You can't have anybody see me taking a leak in the woods. He's got to walk 300 feet down the ravine.
Right. Yeah, and then his buddy, who he tells him to watch out for, right? He's on the. Oh yeah, it's like, dude,
it's so funny. What was that guy's name? His name was Dieter.
He's the Russian guy from Armageddon.
He is.
I mean, he's in tons of stuff, to be honest. He's in tons of stuff.
And then he's killed by compies.
Oh,
so we kind of get to see what happened to that little girl on the beach, basically through seeing. Like,
well, I think what happened to her is how he looked after he gets away from the first attack.
Right.
Because Hammond says
she doesn't
okay.
Die. Yeah, she doesn't die. She just gets bitten a few times.
Yeah. I mean, enough for the mom to kind of lose her mind. But
yeah. But that mom, she couldn't even pour.
That's true.
She couldn't even pour the champagne in the bottle without the docking crew coming over to it. But
back to the trailer thing, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's fine. Like it's fine. The T-Rex thing is good. They hand the baby back. Like it all plays out.
So good. And then when they're like finally like calm down,
right?
He's like trying to get back on the phone, and then he stands up and he goes, "This isn't gonna be good."
Yeah.
You just see
they roll. They roll. And the thing goes, and I was like, okay, she lands on the glass. He's trying to get down to her. It all plays out good.
The whole scene, right?
Yeah. And the cool thing is the animators, you could tell every time she was trying to put, the more pressure she was putting on this hand to reach with this hand.
Yeah.
You could see the animators were making the splinter happen more aggressively on the other hand.
Yeah.
And
Nick is trying to grab the satellite phone, right? Because it's sliding off.
Heads up!
It's a really great scene.
Perfect. I had really no issue with it, even when they're complete jerks to Eddie when they're like, "Yeah, give me 2 hamburgers." I was like, "Dude, he's trying to do what he can, right?"
Yeah, right.
Why wouldn't he ask? Is there anything else? Like,
but I get to see like that's all 3 of their personalities.
Yeah,
like those,
I'm fine with it. He ties the thing. He does all of it. It's totally fine. The part that made no sense to me, and I was just like, "No, you're all dead," is they're climbing up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the second go. Because I think the first go, they get back inside, don't they?
They slide, yeah.
He climbs up and the rope gets loose. And I think they stay back in, they hang on to the edge of the glass, right?
I think Sarah slips on the rope and slides down and knocks the 3 of them down.
I think that's the second time. Because the first time he does it, it unloosens from the tree and they fall and they hang on the edge of like where the glass broke.
Yeah, that's right.
And they pull themselves back up and they're all standing there and they're all like, "Well, that was fun," basically. They're all making faces at each other. He reties it, he rehooks it. He gets in the car and now he's going, and now the T-Rex come and she pulls on the rope and she's like, hey, we can go back on it. They climb up it, and this is exactly what you said happens. She slides and she hits him, and then it's just them. And I was like, no. I was just like, you would just fall. Maybe Sarah would stay hanging. But whoever was at the bottom, either it was Ian or Nick, you're falling into the ocean, buddy.
So what's really funny about that, and we're going to talk about that in a different podcast, but in the Phantom Menace,
please. Yes.
When Obi-Wan is on Jango Fett's like grappling wire.
Oh, okay.
On Camino, and he slides up the thing, and he slides like off the top, and he drops like 100 feet, and he uses the force because it's wrapped around his wrist, and he uses the force to launch it and wrap it. And then he just like free drops on it, and it's this tiny little grappling wire, and he's fine. He's just like, oh man, your weight free falling,
slice right through his hand.
It would slice right through your hands. Like Jedi powers are not like, dude.
But even more recent than that, and stay tuned for this one, the Phantom Menace. There's a scene in that where we will discuss that too. So
yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah. So I just like it. I don't know. It's
but that actually is really smart, that he threw them the rope and tied that around a tree, and then he
separate
the Jeep to pull the
trailer. And they really don't make it. I mean, the only thing that was a little unbelievable about that scene was the fact that the Jeep wasn't sinking in the mud. It was like on a flat. You could tell that it was on like a flat,
Yeah.
hard surface because
Yeah,
it would just.
I can kind of let that go too because if they're really on a cliff like that, I picture that being like all slate
That
underneath.
would be he would have dug up the dirt or the mud until stone. Yeah, it's very possible. But other than that, everything else was like I loved it. And when he pulled, and I was like, and I remember him dying, and like when the T Rex pulls the chair out of the car, I was like, no, I was just like, not Eddie, you know. But then it wasn't him, and I was like, oh, he's not dead. That's right. And then I was like, oh no, he's died. And he died, like you said, he died so brutally, and I was like,
but in any other movie where someone has their gun stuck in a net, right? The tip is stuck in the net, you know, and it's like the very last minute they get it out, and in this movie it's just like, nope, grabbed his foot, pulled him out.
I know. Or it's like a bad guy and you're glad his gun is stuck, right? You're like, yeah, you're gonna get it, buddy. You can't do it.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal to send a character out that way.
Especially when he wasn't like a, you know. But my thought was I was like, man, that's really nasty of Spielberg and everybody to do. But they kind of do that to Samuel L. Jackson in the first movie.
Oh yeah. No, I know. And Spielberg wanted to make this one a little bit darker too. He said he wanted to make it a little bit more gritty.
And the hunter guy, Mel Doon, gets it pretty decently too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. But yeah, you can tell because you know there's a few scenes that's pretty brutal. Eddie's like the first one.
Yeah.
That guy, that Carlos guy, he gets
getting
like
crushed,
and you can see him on his foot. You know,
and
like,
his body's like wiggling in the water. I know.
And then that paleontologist guy who gets like that coral.
Oh, the snake, yeah.
And you can hear like the crunch. Anytime you can hear the bones crunch. Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad. And then there's that guy outside of in the city. He's running away from the T-Rex and he's just trying to get like to Blockbuster.
Yeah, funny you say that. That's a guy. He's like a thing. I read it somehow. I was trying to look up if the filming locations were real in San Diego, and they said that is David Coeb, whatever. He's like he's either the screenplay writer or something. That's like that guy who gets eaten specifically in front of the Starbucks there that you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
He's somebody. He's like a writer or producer for the movie.
I did see that. Yeah, and I didn't know what guy they were talking about, but I did read that, and I didn't put the two and two together. Yeah, he gets it pretty good.
So does the dog. Poor little dog.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh man, but yeah.
So did you get maybe not in this time in your rewatching, but younger Caleb? Did he ever get confused that Hammond's is it his son? He said
nephew.
Okay. So did you get Hammond's nephew confused with the other guy who hangs out with Roland?
Pretty sure it's the same guy.
Nah. So the guy when he goes to the T-Rex nest and he sees the T-Rex eating, there's a guy with glasses with him. It's not the nephew, it's a different guy. And it's the same guy when he's going, don't run in the tall grass. It's that guy.
Oh, okay. But Peter is there. Peter is on the island. Peter does go to the island though.
Oh yeah. Peter, the Hammond guy is totally there. It's just they're two different people.
Oh yeah. So I guess even
because he's not yelling, don't run in the tall. He doesn't know anything, right? He doesn't know anything. So it's like another hunter, another guy.
But Peter is the guy in the very beginning with Roland in the Jeep, where Roland's like,
yeah.
Okay.
He says to him, yeah, we're not setting up here on a game trail. That's Hammond, the Hammond guy.
Yeah. Okay. No, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I know it's weird.
Why would they have two guys in glasses that look exactly the same?
And they're kind of like semi-British-ish. Let me show you. Let me see if I can pull up the actors.
Is that the guy that Roland is talking about when he finally gets the T-Rex and he's all mopey at the end? And he's like, what's the matter? And he's like, oh, Charlie didn't make it.
It probably is.
I was like, they never even set his character up.
AJ.
Yeah.
So AJ and Peter, right? So here's AJ.
But
This is the guy who gets
Okay.
he goes, don't run in the tall grass, don't whatever, right?
yeah, right.
And then that's Harvey Jason apparently. And then
How would he know about the tall grass anyway?
and that's
Really
Hammond.
funny. That's really funny. Yeah, I guess I never really noticed that there was a difference.
I kept being like, why is Roland taking the Hammond guy to the T-Rex nest? Like that doesn't make any sense. And then the same thing when he puts the guy who gets eaten by the compies in charge of the thing and like everything's blowing up after Nick releases it. There's two guys up in the thing and they're hunting, right? They hurt the T-Rex's leg.
Yeah, right.
And they're up in the tree. Well, it's him. It's AJ and Roland, and the other Peter's in the. It was just like it was so confusing.
So they really never show him other than those like few scenes. Because at the end when Roland says, AJ didn't make it, I assumed he was talking about somebody who died in the camp thing or something.
Right.
But he's specifically talking about that guy.
The guy who's like working with him, yeah.
So why would that guy yell, "Don't run in the grass," and then follow everybody through the grass?
I don't know.
And also, how would they know about velociraptors following prey through long grass like that? It didn't happen in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I don't know.
They don't have any paleontological proof.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what made him want to do that.
Yeah. That is a great scene though. When they pan up and you can see the people running through the grass and you can see all the like this
I know.
That's pretty good. I love everything in that scene except the kick out the window part. Everything like them running through the building, them like Malcolm going through the car.
Ian's a little weird in the car scene. Like, why aren't you kicking it or something? I don't know. It's just kind of weird just watching it break through the glass. But
I guess originally that was supposed to be Nick. Nick was supposed to be in the car, and he after that car scene he was going to run inside and get the call for the thing.
Gotcha.
But it makes sense to have that happen before so that the helicopter's inbound.
But yeah,
as a kid, I always thought that building that they went to was like the original Jurassic Park.
Oh,
yeah. But that was like an outpost center because Hammond explains in the beginning that island is like where they raise the dinosaurs like to maturity and then ship them over to the park.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%. 100%. We always make jokes about it. The gymnastic raptor scene. You and I have always made jokes about it. But now to watch it under critique, it's really bad.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make any sense.
I don't even have a problem with her kicking the thing out the window.
No.
It's the fact that the raptor is on the ground and she's like, "Oh, I got this." And she jumps on the thing. First of all, that pipe support her weight.
Right.
It's all
how do you know that?
It's been decaying for 40 years. And then she does like 3 loops. And then that raptor just happens to get right there. Perfect time where she comes down. Which is like
and then on top of it,
off.
Instead of like I think it's even worse than what you said. I think he gets up there to eat Ian, right? Yeah. She gets and then she goes, "Hey."
Uh-huh.
And then it's like, what? Like it turns and looks at her like, yes, I respond to English language.
I see you know your genetics well.
Like we've all dealt with animals. If you say to an animal, "Hey, don't eat that," it's already eaten it, right? You're not gonna say to doesn't listen to you.
Like it's shocked all of a sudden.
I was just thinking she'd go, "Hey," and he'd go, He'd take a big bite out of Ian, and then she'd kick him out the window.
I don't understand why their first thought too when they went into that shed, their first thought was to dig out the backside. to like dig out underneath. It's clearly like just climb up to the ceiling. Like a raptor has a great jump, but the chances of it being able to like know where you went and jump up and follow you is pretty low.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It only went up on the roof after it saw you guys go up on the roof.
Right.
But that leads to our other favorite scene with the clay shingles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
What was it? What Bond movie were we talking? We were talking about one of the Bond movies, right?
Yeah. I think
it was up on the thing, and we thought like he's playing with shingles.
I think it was the first one. I think it was the Royale when he's doing the chase scene in Guadalupe or wherever.
Yeah.
So what happens from there? They get evac'd.
That's like the end of the movie. Technically, to me, that you can have your little bit of something, but that's where the movie should have ended, just like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Just have them in the helicopter and just being like, oh, whatever. Or have boat stuff happen and that's the movie, right? It made
yeah, it did. It's like the movie wraps and then you think it's there's a whole 30 minutes more.
Yeah. And when you look at it from a movie perspective, it's so unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
It literally feels like somebody said, hey, you know, it would be neat if you made the T-Rex come to California. And they were like, yeah, like, how do we do that? Well, we got it at the end of the movie getting captured, showing that like InGen is probably still going to get some dinosaurs. Like, yeah, just take that and put it on the thing. It's like, well, how? It's like, oh, don't.
And you know what's really funny about that statement that you just made is, you know who said that?
George Lucas.
Steven Spielberg. He said, hey, wouldn't the end of the movie be great if it was like the T-Rex smashed through the city? And they're like, yes, Mr. Spielberg, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a nightmare as far as animatronics.
How much money are you going to give me? $7,000? Oh.
So let me get this straight, Spielberg. You want a 40-minute end scene, animatronic full T-Rex chase scene through the city, smashing demolition, and what I have 4 days to do it? Yeah, no, we can make it happen, Mr. Spielberg. Yes, Mr. Spielberg.
Wouldn't it be really funny to learn if that was like day one of shooting with all the Los Angeles stuff?
No, there's no way.
But so watching the movie, that scene happens. I looked it up on the internet.
First, what I was thinking too was how you were talking about how everything was Nick's fault.
Oh yeah.
Even at the end of the movie, right, where the T-Rex is attacking the tent scene.
Oh yeah.
And Roland goes to shoot it, and
yes,
at the end, and Nick has the bullets in the helicopter.
Yes.
But the other dumb thing about that scene is that Roland makes a point to say to Sarah, he's like, "Are you injured?" And she's like, "Oh no, this is all blood from the infant T-Rex." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Not thinking that like the T-Rexes would like follow the scent of like the infant blood.
Right, and he was true.
And she hangs it up in the tent. Oh man. So I used to be as a kid, I used to be afraid of like bears ripping through my tent when I was camping.
Sure.
And then I saw The Last World. And I was like, oh, it could be much worse.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, continue.
Yeah, because they do set it up. They do set up that the T-Rex he's like the second animal that can smell the farthest away, essentially.
Right. And I love too how it's Ian again who's walking through the campsite and he sees the puddle.
Oh yeah.
And it's like must
come.
Yeah. He takes him right back. Like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, it is cool. He does react really well anytime there's a new noise, especially when you hear the T-Rex scream and he hears it. And he's like, oh, you can see in his face.
Well, no, he says like, no, it could be worse. It could be worse. And then he hears a T-Rex and he's like,
it's worse. So again, my poor memory, kind of like when we watched the Bond movies, my poor memory was the boat crashes.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So I looked it up online, and it would take a boat from
Mhm.
Costa Rica
Yeah.
to San Diego, like a week to get there.
Well, it's close. They captured everything the night before, and now it's like 3 in the morning, 3 a.m.
So they failed to show how they get. I mean, it is a hard cut from them
Oh
seeing
yeah,
the
right to
T-Rex being captured, and also it's like downtown, California. You're
it's
like, what?
literally just Nick with the bullets in the helicopter, and then they fly over and they're like, oh no, they have a T-Rex, and then it's just so we gather here today to introduce
Right. And I was like, okay, so the whole thing happens, it crashes. Number one, the stupidest thing is the dumbest guy who's never dealt with boats runs away. None of the people who work at the harbor day in and day out are like, this dot's getting really close to us. Like, let's stand here and watch it.
I love
They
it.
would all evacuate.
Anytime there's a scene where there's somebody talking to like a plane or like a ship, and they're like, yeah, what was the name of the thing? The Venture.
The
Oh
Venture,
yeah,
yeah.
U.S. Venture. Your approaching speed is a little hot. It's a little
Right.
hot. And they're looking at the radar, and it's like not even a nautical mile away. Like, I repeat, you're a little too hot. Dude, get out of there.
Right,
It's
right.
not gonna stop. Even if they get your message, even if nothing
Right.
bad has happened to the crew, it's not going to stop in time.
Right.
Get
And it's also those guys like out in the dock, and they're like, where is it?
all these like Navy guys like, that's
Yeah.
not good.
But the one moron, Peter Hammond, he's running away
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's like, I know what's happened. So that happens. All that takes place. And I thought the whole time I'm thinking, this is fine. This is fine. Right? Suspend your belief. You don't got to be so hypercritical of
The ship
Navy
crashing
people.
is fine. The ship
Right.
crashing, like, that makes sense.
Whatever. So then they go on, right? Sarah and Ian go on, right? And they see people eaten and mutilated, right? And I was like, oh yeah.
The guy's still driving,
And
right?
then they
the arm.
ruined.
He's got the one arm hanging on the wheel.
Right.
And then the other arm is holding onto the switch.
Yeah. So he tells them when they ask where the baby is, he's like, it's in a secure facility.
Uh-huh.
But the baby isn't on the boat.
No.
So how did the T-Rex eat everybody on the boat without the boat looking like an absolute nightmare boat?
You're saying that a 10-ton T-Rex couldn't get out of the hatch, eat like 5 people, and then just saunter back in the hatch and close the hatch on itself, but also have its head reach into the door and bite the guy in half so that his arm
like what do you do? Stick his tongue in again and like, but the guy gripped onto the thing and his hand ripped off. Like it doesn't make.
It pulled his arm off the saga while he was still holding the wheel.
Yeah,
because he was like, oh no, I'm gonna let this boat crash on the main.
And the whole time I had thought previously watching it, I thought the baby T-Rex was on the boat. I'm like, well, this makes sense. The baby T-Rex is eating everybody.
That is what I have always assumed every time I've watched the movie, is that
me too.
Baby T-Rex got out, it escaped, attacked all the people, and they finally got it back in, and they with his dying breath, the guy was closing the switch
right
on the thing, and the T-Rex was trying to get out at the same time. The hydraulics were just, that's why it's doing this over and over, right? No, because Peter says, oh, the T-Rex is it's not only does he say no, it's already in a secured location. He then specifically says, yeah, I had it fly back on the plane with me.
Yeah.
So it's already been there.
And it's also sedated.
Sedated, yeah.
So it's like
sedated.
There's no way it could have been the baby T-Rex. There's like no chance.
The only thing that explains that it was the actual T-Rex that got out is the guy says, we over-tranked it. It was
right.
Over-tranquilized it, and then we gave it a sedative to wake it up a little bit. So it's like, no, it got out. So you're led to believe, take the hand off the steering wheel, because that's just unrealistic anyway. You're led to believe that the T-Rex wakes up, and somehow it like woke up too soon while they were dosing it. Like they dosed it like,
Right.
they gave it wake up juice or whatever because they tranquilized it too much. It wakes up, gets out of the cargo thing,
Yeah.
whatever, kills a couple people, eats a couple people. One hero has to sacrifice his life to have it chase him back down into the cargo hold.
Right.
And the guy that pushes the switch got bitten before that happened, and with his dying breath pushes the cargo button down to
Right.
have it close that guy and the T-Rex in there.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to believe.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it doesn't make sense.
No.
It's not as drastic as a giant monkey and a giant lizard standing on a helicopter carrier
On an aircraft carrier.
and then not doing this. Not once did it do this, or even this.
Or like rip apart.
It was straight concrete, just permanent fixture in the water.
Yeah. But at least at that point, we can suspend it because it's a giant lizard and ape attacking each other.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a little bit more grounded.
A little bit, you know. At least dinosaurs did exist, and you know what I mean. So it's like,
yeah. So that whole scene to me is just like, what the heck? Whatever, whatever.
It's just rough. I just feel like it's so unnecessary. It's so not needed. It's literally it's like trailer shots, essentially. It's just film. Because it's like all those people in the immigration thing are happening. It's like, how do none of these guards see that's happened?
They're not even paying attention to it. They're doing paperwork, and the T-Rex is right on the other side of the door.
And you're telling me right now in the late 90s, if I went down to some harbor down in California, there would be no guys standing outside with guns. They'd just be all like, no, we go inside. We go inside at 10 p.m. We don't go outside.
Yeah, let it go. And nobody called in like the Marines or the Navy or
right.
It was just nothing.
Also, the T-Rex got from the harbor to like downtown somebody's like residential street.
Like pretty
and they were like, it's gonna go to our water source. And I was like, why isn't it going towards the coast where the ocean is? Like, why did it go to some swimming pool?
That's salt water, Will.
True, it is salt water. Okay, there you go.
Filtered chlorine water.
Yeah, chlorine water. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you, salt water. I didn't think about that.
But how many pools has it passed to get to that one backyard?
Or swamps or anything. Ponds. I know. Golf courses, anything. I'm sure it passed 19,000 things. I know. Oh, God.
Just imagine being that kid that like wakes up and sees it out your window like that.
Yeah.
I love the parents. They're arguing about the fish tank.
They're like, yeah. You read to them too late. I don't read it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Good. But then but the chase scene in, getting the baby and the chase through the docks is kind of cool. It's kind of fun.
It's cool. No, it all plays out.
I love when the 76 ball from the gas station rolls past the car. You know what else is crazy too is seeing. I noticed like all of the city shots, there are payphones everywhere.
True.
Like there used to be payphones everywhere.
Yeah.
There was like 3 out front of the store. There was like 2 over by the immigration thing. They're just everywhere. I'm like,
well, wow. The other thing that was
so in that one scene, I was like, there is 2 things that do not exist anymore: payphones and Blockbuster Video.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. That was the other sad thing was seeing in the rental store, right?
What movie were they promoting too? It was
Jack. Robin Williams' Jack, and it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I forgot what it was.
Well, there's another thing that isn't around anymore.
I know. I think there's like, isn't there like one surviving Blockbuster like out in the Midwest or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It was like, tell me your movies from the 90s without telling me the movies from the 90s.
Yeah. I know.
It's sad.
Well, that's how they made Captain Marvel immediately feel 90s was had her crash in a Blockbuster Video. I mean, really? You immediately knew we're not in the 80s or 2000s.
This was a different time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Or they do this. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got a call from this person. dude.
Oh, I gotta get to this
Oh,
payphone.
well, I'm gonna have to call this person later.
Oh man, I know.
Yeah, that's pretty
But
good.
other than that ending, other than the like you said, there's parts of it that are cool. They film it well, like the 76 rolling by. And,
Yeah. Well, then talk about how big of an idiot that Peter guy is to be like,
like,
oh no, I want that infant, and to follow it down into the cargo hole. Like, what did you think is happening?
see, it wasn't a giant ship coming, so he didn't have enough foresight to know that
Yeah.
a giant T-Rex would eat him. Also, that T-Rex got like 12 feet away from him, and he was like, "Oh God, a giant T-Rex is behind."
Yeah, right. So in every other scene, they set up that like the T-Rex is coming because
Hundreds of miles.
the whole ground is vibrating.
Not in a boat though. That doesn't
And then he
happen.
gets on the boat, and it's just it's like very stealthily, like
Ooh.
down the ramp, right down the ramp. I do like how it's the T-Rex is teaching its infant how to hunt.
That isn't it.
That is-
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is an exceptional scene. I do enjoy that as well. So how do we end? I forget how it ends. So it kills Peter.
Yep. So it ends with Ian, Sarah, and Kelly back in their apartment or house or whatever, and they're watching the news. They're both sleeping, and she's watching the news.
Yes.
And it's Hammond on the news. He's talking, and he's saying that the U.S. and Costa Rican government has declared that island, what do you call it? Natural
Isla
preserve.
Sonar or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a natural preserve, so no human interaction. It's illegal to go to the island. It's a nature preserve. Don't stay away from it.
Cool.
And he quotes Ian Malcolm and says that life finds a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing I thought was interesting before we wrap this one up, the thing I thought was interesting, and I thought, oh, is it? So you know how spoilers in Jurassic World, Bryce Dallas Howard's character there, Claire.
Yeah, Claire.
Okay, she goes and finds the old T-Rex, right? With the flare. Is that right? It's the original Jurassic Park T-Rex, right?
It's supposed to be.
Supposed to be, right? So when the trailer is being attacked by the T-Rex parents,
Yeah.
one of the T-Rex has like cut up face.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, is that the Jurassic Park one? But they're like, it says in the movie, they're like 80 something miles away from each other.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting. I don't know if it was like a borrowed animatronic and they just don't want you to think about it too much. Like it is the Jurassic Park T-Rex.
I do know that all the T-Rex animatronics were rebuilt from the ground up for the second movie.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So he's just
I guess the original T-Rex for Jurassic Park weighed like 9 tons or something. And then they said that for these two, they totally rebuilt them, both of the parents. They were like double the weight. And then the thing that was unique about them is that they needed to be able to interact with the actors, be more reliable.
Yeah.
So that scene where Eddie dies.
Okay.
That is all actor and stunt actor, an animatronic. Like the animatronic actually pulls the top of the Jeep off and it picks him up. The animatronic picks him up. Even the waterfall scene where he grabs the guy's arm.
Yeah.
Full animatronic grabbing and lifting the actual actor out.
Wow. It's very believable. So yeah, I can see it. It's very believable.
It makes it so much more realistic. But yeah, no, so I don't think they're the same. They're different T-Rexes. But yeah, no, in Jurassic World, that is supposed to be the same. That is supposed to be the same T-Rex from the very beginning that eats the raptors at the end of Jurassic Park. I think his name is Rex or something. They call him Rexy or whatever. Yeah. He has like a very distinct scar like by his eye or something.
Yeah, and he also has some on his body where they got him too. Yeah. But if you look, I mean, I don't know if you can find that specific clip. There's a clip when they're looking, and the one is normal, and the other one has like cuts on its face, and it just looks like the Jurassic Park one. Yeah. But like you said, they obviously rebuilt it. So
that scene though, where they're in the trailer, and it's both T-Rex is on both sides of the glass.
Yeah, I know.
And the one bumps this side, so they go into this glass and they're right next to this one, and it bumps and they go back. It's like, dude, that is freaking terrifying.
Yeah.
That is terrifying. And then
especially they could just like rip into this stuff.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
And then she opens the door and she has to like walk outside to like drop the baby off. You are out of your freaking. Oh man. But yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I mean, did we not touch any? You had some notes there. Did we touch on some? Didn't fail to touch on something?
I don't think so. I think we
okay, good.
Pretty much nailed.
Yeah, it. I think all the things that I had semi forgotten about or wanted to talk about, you brought up too. So it was good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. So I love this movie.
Yeah.
No, I don't love it more than the original Jurassic Park.
No.
But as far as like more interesting like dinosaur human interaction scenes, I think this movie's better.
Yeah. You get more dinosaurs.
There's a lot more stuff that happens.
Yeah.
T-Rexes are way more featured,
Oh yeah.
Like I said, that camping scene and the trailer scene, they're all like terrifying.
And that's what's interesting too, right? Because a lot of times sequels are just like the same note, essentially. It's like the same thing over again. But this isn't. Like, this is a completely different movie from Jurassic Park. It's not the same.
No, not even close. The other thing that's interesting to me too is that so the third movie, it takes place on this same island.
I thought it did. Okay.
So the other like fan thing that I was listening about is that like where was like the Spinosaurus the whole time? Because they portray like the spine in number 3, they portray like the Spinosaurus is like this very menacing, more than T-Rex, more territorial. And like where would that have been? But I guess they're saying that the island is so big that this movie kind of takes place like here
in one little quadrant.
Yeah, and like they go over here, right? Because they go to like the aviary thing, and it's
true.
Their whole thing is the other side of the island. It's just, I mean, it's a dinosaur movie. Like really, realistically, like who?
Well, now it's interesting to know using the stuff that they talk about that like in the middle of the island is literally the raptors.
Yeah.
Which I think is true in the third movie when they go to the facility. It's all like it's overrun with raptors.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have to see.
I almost think in the third one there is like a whole different like engine thing that it's because there's paddocks, right? There's that whole fence, and there's like paddocks, and there's like it's almost like a failed theme park on that side of the island, and they use like the other side of the island to like hold the dinosaurs to bring them over to Jurassic Park. There's like this whole other thing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember, so I'm interested to watch and see what happens.
It's like the same thing. I remember the key points, and then all the interconnecting dialogue. I don't remember.
Yeah, because then even in Jurassic World, they go back to Isla Nublar, the first island.
Yeah.
So it's like
I know.
There's no, especially after the end, how this ends with like John Hammond's like, no, that's a nature preserve. Both governments have agreed that's a nature preserve. Nobody can go on it. How did Jurassic World get the rights to be like, no, we're going to do it again on the same island, but it's going to be better. Better.
I wonder if they explain it in the movie. I don't remember. They probably do.
I don't remember. But that literally means that somebody had to go to Isla Nublar, capture all the dinosaurs that are now free from Jurassic Park, round them all up, send them somewhere else, then start construction on the island. And there's no way you can get them all. Because we've seen in every movie that like copies can just get out, like can go anywhere.
Yeah, all the time.
So that's funny. That's funny to think about.
Yeah. We'll have to think about see how they explain things. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So no, I'm looking forward to the third one.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
I remember as a kid really liking the third one.
Me too, yeah. For me, it's Jurassic Park 3 Lost World in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And so far, it's still that way. Still Jurassic Park is number one, but who knows? I mean, who knows? I'm a big fan of Alan Grant. I like Ian Malcolm a lot, but I know there's just something about Sam Neill and that character. He's really good in the movie. So
It's it's funny too that Ian Malcolm is kind of like a completely different character in this movie.
yeah, right. Yes, yes. That was the other thing I wanted to talk about. He's much more Jeff Goldblum in this movie than the other movie. It's almost like somebody said, "Hey, just crank your weirdness up a little bit."
I think he's more Jeff Goldblum in the first movie.
Do you really?
I
Oh,
do.
okay,
I
okay.
do. There's that whole thing on the helicopter ride in the first movie where he's like, yeah, and he's like, and it's like that's weird. That's a weird. That's Jeff Goldblum being weird.
Yeah,
He's chewing the gum and he's really obnoxious and he's, you know, the
yeah,
few lines of dialogue that he has, he's very much Jeff Goldblum. In this movie, I felt like he's more reserved. He's more like a normal character. He has his mannerisms. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
He
yeah.
has like his way of talking, but he's more. I feel like he's more grounded. He's more of a realistic character.
He is more
He's not a
grounded. Yeah,
cartoon. He's not a cartoon.
yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. I love Jeff Goldblum anyway. He can be as weird as he wants.
Yeah, he's great in both the movies.
And it seems like in the end of Dominion, when he makes his appearance to the court, he's like a totally normal like scientist guy.
Yeah,
He doesn't do anything drastic. He doesn't say anything weird. So I'm interested to see what he's going to be like in the new one.
yeah. It's also kind of weird because when you watch him in Fallen Kingdom, he has like a beard and long hair, and then you see him in the trailers for
Yeah, and he's like
Dominion, and
clean.
he's clean shaven and he has like white comb over hair like he does in real life. And I'm like, how do you explain that?
What's really funny is when I was looking up stuff like on IMDb before, it's like all these actors, right? It's just like, oh, this actor, and they have like totally normal like mug shots.
Yeah.
And then you got you got Jeff Goldblum, and he's got this shirt. It's like 70 different colors, and he's got
Oh,
hey, it's like, yep, that's Jeff Goldblum.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super funny.
Gosh,
Oh,
he's funny.
God,
I
it's so
love him.
funny.
Oh,
Oh my God.
turn off the light. They're attracted to the
Turn off
light.
the light. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, so that is it. That is Lost World. Jurassic Park 2, some would say.
Yeah, Jurassic Park 2.
All right.
So stay tuned to the channel because we're going to be doing the next 3 movies. But, you know, obviously the next one we're going to be doing is actual Jurassic Park 3. So that'll be on this channel here in a few weeks from now or so.
Yeah. It's Jurassic Park.
Yeah, like X3. Bam! Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So that'll be good. I'm looking forward to watching that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the other thing that we're gonna start doing is watching the prequels leading up to Obi-Wan.
Yep. Not enough time to watch literally everything before Obi-Wan. So we figure, or at least I figured, was let's watch the prequel since that's what, you know, what do they call it? Like middle America, like mass audience that's what they know Obi-Wan from, basically.
It kind of sets up and explains Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship.
Right. Yeah.
Without delving into like their personal relationship. What's funny though is I'm 2 in already on those.
Oh, did you watch
I was watching the first one and McKenna was watching with me and she was really enjoying it. So then the other night she's like, let's watch the second one. I don't have to watch it yet. I have to watch it like next week sometime. And she's like, no, that's fine. So we watched it. And then it ends and she's like, let's watch the next one. I was like, no, I'm not watching it. I said, if you want to watch the next one, here's what you gotta watch. I said, you can't watch.
No.
You can't watch that one. So I turned on Clone Wars. I was like, you gotta watch. See these 9 seasons? See how these are 40 episodes long? You gotta watch every
single one of these. Yeah.
they're all like so heavy into like,
I know.
oh
It's one of the few times that, like, if you don't watch it, you do actually miss out on stuff.
yeah. Well, they explain a lot.
They really do. Even stuff that, like, you didn't think needed to be explained, they really go out of their way to explain stuff.
Just like even like I legitimately just always think about like Obi-Wan's relationship to like the woman who runs Mandalore.
Oh yeah,
Whole arc where like he was gonna leave the Jedi Order for her. It's a
yeah.
thing. And like I always say, it makes Anakin's betrayal so much more like heartbreaking at the
Oh, so much more heartbreaking. But that's like almost a month from now, so
yeah, right.
we'll
So
cover that.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
I
get
know.
to it. We'll get to it. I'm just recently watched it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, stay tuned. You're gonna soon see Jurassic Park 3, and Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Those will be out pretty soon.
Phantom's Menace.
Menace.
It's Darth Maul, by the way.
It's yeah. By the way.
By the way, and he's only in that one. He's only in that one movie. Like, oh, that's the big bad guy. He's in one movie.
Is he the Phantom Menace, or is the Emperor the Phantom Menace? I don't know.
No, the Emperor is the Phantom, and his menace is
The Phantom's Menace.
menace. Oh man.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
In the next one.